Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, will be reversed. The message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks and shadows, see how they play as karmic themes, help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. You're a mirror of who and what comes into your life, right? So a lot of times we're like, why did these imbalanced people, and an imbalanced person could be someone that's angry, someone that's uh, arrogant, anyone that just isn't, in a place where they're a kind person, right? Where they're coming from a place of unconditional love, we could say, right? Any person that comes into our life that stirs up emotion, we say, well, I'm not like that. Right? If we're a mirror of who what comes into our life, if we say, how come I'm not pulling someone that is kind, generous, sensitive, right? All the things that we perceive that we are, right? It just only makes sense. Well, no, the universe brings us what we need. So it's not so much like you are. It's that you hold that energy. And a lot of times, unfortunately, from an experience that happened so long ago. So repressed energy, there's habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with that energy. So it plays out within our relationships. It plays out in every area of our life. So I've been starting off every reading with just looking at what you need, and I'm going to pull like this from here on out, like what you need for you, just you, because a lot of times the spiritual imbalances that you see that you have, well, then you're also going to notice how they play out within the relationship, or actually understand why they're playing out, why your relationship is playing out the way that it is, how you're contributing to it. I'm not saying that you're the creator of that experience, but the dynamic is the way that it is because two people are doing what they're doing. They're still feeding the connection. Even if you're like, well, I'm not even talking to this person, your thoughts, your energy is your thoughts and your emotions. That's what creates an energetic cord. So it's not that a lot of times that a relationship can stay stagnant for a really long time, and so you have to say what needs to be healed with inside of you. So once you change, you're going to fill that gap, which believe me, if you're connected to someone that's not giving you anything, but it's like you're unconsciously holding space, there's a reason. And a lot of times, listen, knowing a relationship isn't going to go anywhere is a safe space. It's just an avoidance space, or like I said, what you need to heal. Everything is all about that. Relationships, life situations, every experience is karmic. And if there's many different realities that play it at one time, wouldn't you want to live the reality that is best in alignment with you? So that's why I've been wanting to start the readings off with just looking at your energy, because like once you change the entire dynamic. So we need to see what energies do you need to incorporate within your life? What do you need to do? Because really, again, that's what it is. You can have whatever it is that you want to manifest. It's the spiritual blockages that prevent you from actually having what you want. And it could be, hey, I want this person to give me love, this person, again, and not just be open to, again, what the universe brings you. Or it could be a job, it could be any experience, but we have to see how we are blocking ourselves. Because again, you can have whatever it is that you want. If you're not living it, it's because of something that we're doing. So spirit is saying leadership, rejuvenation, building, Don't worry, I read it all. I read it all together at the end. By walking your life's journey, you are dismantling false belief systems, not just for you, but for other people, I'm feeling. And being vulnerable is your greatest strength. You are a champion. And one more. Just one more, which is you are the boss of your life. You can hire, fire, and promote accordingly. So, Spirit is saying, listen, now this, I have a feeling that this is kind of a very specific, reading, but it's almost like, listen, you're building something, you're creating something from the ground up. And so you're a leader, but you have to walk like a leader. And that means believe that you're a leader. And so that also means, you're going to get triggered sometimes. It's stressful. And it's stressful because, you're in charge of your own like business or world, like in a lot of different areas. And then to be in a like one, it's all about relationships, is what I'm trying to get at. So when we have like second chakra imbalances, what you'll see is people coming into your life that want to get close to you because they perceive something about you, maybe something that you don't even know about yourself, but something that maybe they can contribute somehow, and or they can benefit somehow, I should really say, but they'll try to disguise it as if they can contribute it. And so a lot of times people get close, and Spirit says you have to watch, like when you are building, like when you're creating yourself, your relationships, because that's when you're going to be most vulnerable. It's almost like when you plant the seed, you got to give it the right soil, you got to give it the right environment, and everything kind of has to be just so in order for that seed to sprout. Once it gets going, it's like, oh, okay, it's fine, kind of like a kid. It's like, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, it's fine. Because and so Spirit says, take time out for yourself to rejuvenate. A lot of times it's go, 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 especially if you're trying to create something and you're becoming a boss, like you said. And I also feel like, you're going to trigger people. And it's because, listen, as you evolve into a higher state of consciousness, which is what happens when you're walking like a leader, right? It's like you're being tested, everything from a spiritual perspective, where that you want to know what you need to focus on for the year. And it's like, listen, you're walking into like being not even knowing 100% what your business is going to do, but you are in charge of it, of whatever it is that you're building. And that's an unfoldment process. So, like I said, you're going to attract people of your consciousness when you're first starting out. And when we first start out, we're a little insecure. We don't really know. We try a lot of things. So, the people that come into your life most likely are not going to stay in your life forever. And the reason why is because you don't really know who you are. Like I said in the beginning, people, you're trying to find yourself. Well, those people are trying to find themselves too. Remember, you're a mirror of what comes into your life. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't see and have a vision for you and can see your vision and whatever. It's not about that. This is your thing, your individuality, your second chakra. It's all about your creativity, your ideas, your passion. It's your spiritual sovereignty, really. It's because when you are building something, you're creating yourself, is what Spirit says. So there's going to be people, and not just like an ex. We don't know because we haven't looked, but possibly an ex, or a friend that you considered like, hey, you were my friend for a long time. But what I'm noticing as I evolve, I'm seeing that I don't resonate with you, or I see that I trigger you. Or maybe you see this person differently. Whatever it is, Spirit says it's okay to set boundaries and not let people, to always be nice and always to feel bad for other people. And then you pay for it, and you pay handsomely for it. So Spirit saying that's a karmic test. So this is about, you know, walking your journey is how you heal also. So whatever spiritual blockages that you have about how you we're going to pull how you perceive yourself, because then yeah, then we'll see how it plays out within the relationship also. um which is anxiety and fear. Hold on. Like, and that's a big deal. Inferiority wound, fear of being perceived, um, victim conscious mindset, and narcissist abuse. So that's if you have narcissist abuse, you're going to have a lot of, like, if you were brought up by a narcissist, like, understand you have to recondition your mind and your body, because that trauma creates detachment and disassociation disorder, where you don't even know what you feel. You feel like you feel fine, but you're like seeing the karmic patterns continue to play out within your life because you were conditioned in an environment to make you feel not good enough. And I say that because, listen, the being perceived of being bad. No one walks around saying, "Oh, I'm afraid of how I'm gonna be looked at." Maybe like if we're walking into an event, but on a daily basis, to the point that you have anxiety and fear. That's, again, if you were conditioned like in an environment with a narcissist or dated a narcissist, then there's a sense of you would have fear, you would have anxiety, because always worried about what this person's going to do. That's the thing. When you're around someone that's abusive or someone that you don't trust, it conditions your nervous system, because you know that your nervous system can pick it up. And you're like, I just don't feel like safe with this person. So even if the person, let's just say, wasn't a full blown out narcissist, but they had narcissistic qualities, so what happens is keeping people in your life, Spirit says, is what really creates the victimhood, because people don't have a victim mindset, but it's always because somebody did something. And so if we grew up with a narcissist, or had a friend that was a narcissist, or dated a narcissist, then it doesn't matter if it was for a week. It doesn't matter if it was for like a month. It can mess a person up, because that person is creating spiritual warfare on your mind, making you not trust yourself. Remember, it's a lot of gaslighting, and it's a lot of game playing, and it's a lot of, so being in that type of environment, it's like obviously the anxiety. So that might mean you may know that the person that you're connected to has these qualities, you know, also. So we'll see. But what Spirit is saying is, it's like, um, you're shedding like the old you, and understand, when you shed the old you from the environment that you came from, or again, if it was a relationship that did it, it's the trauma that needs to be healed in order for you to manifest what you need to manifest. But we do it by focusing on what we can focus on, is what Spirit is saying, which is, I feel like inferior. This person made me feel that way. But Spirit says, by you becoming a leader, you're no longer going to feel inferior. It's, again, this is the transformation process. So that's why your reading is what it is. So Spirit saying, take time out, because you are healing. But when you are around that, it conditions your body and your mind. So again, what do you need to recondition? Anxiety and fear, which means grounded. You need to get more grounded. How do you become more grounded? Well, if you're a leader and you're building whatever you're creating, well, hey, you're more present in your body. And that's what Spirit's saying is like that happens like while you're on it. But you would want to make sure that you don't keep people around you that don't have your best interest. That's why Spirit said you can hire and fire accordingly within your life, that you're the CEO of your life. You have to do that. Don't just keep people in your life because of like a weird loyalty or whatever. If the person is not like honoring you or respecting you, and if it's family, limit the time, set boundaries, don't see them if it becomes bad. I had to, I mean, you have to do what you have to do. You can't create a good life for yourself, if you're going to keep people around you that don't have your best interest at hand. You have to love yourself enough. Lucille Ball said that, by the way. You really got to love yourself, because otherwise, you don't. And that means you have to do that in order to avoid problems. That's what Spirit is saying. There's certain as you create yourself. And that's not bad. Now, that's going to create also a good balance for anyone that's in your life. For anybody that comes into your life, you're not going to give them that much. See, you change, you transform. And you transform based on that. You don't even know it because it's a natural unfoldment process. It's like you're changing. You're changing every day. So we're going to look on a spiritual level. Just what is the person that you're connected to? What do they feel about? What do they feel about you? What do they want? What's happening? Like where they are just right now. Betrayal. There is something I'm hiding from you. So I feel like, listen, when they tap into you, I feel like they definitely feel an energy shift. Definitely. Like you have removed your energy. Like Elvis left the building and they know that they treated you bad, that they betrayed it. And the whole time they were hiding something from you. And you want to know why they haven't come back. It's because they're still hiding something from you. And I feel like they're still connected to a person, or there's something big. This person does like also they admire you as a person, and now you might say that's why they even care. I feel like they do care. I feel like there's someone that stalked. There's someone that kept an eye on you. And so I feel like, they watched you. And what they see is you're your own person. You didn't die when they left you. You didn't chase them. You didn't, you know, and you became your own person to the point that you're again stepping into a leadership position again. And that could be a job promotion. It could be something that you're creating and you're building. Maybe you created a new position within your company. I don't know. But you put the energy into yourself. And so you inspire this person because, hey, on an emotional level, I feel like this person really wasn't connected to you because they were, but they also were holding back because they were hiding something from you. So the thing is, on the level, they're not happy where they are, not 100% fulfilled. It's like, because they wouldn't be watching you. I think they thought that it was like, oh, well, I always get attached to like people. So what? They come into my life, they normally don't have an emotional connection, the emotional connection, because this person runs away to avoid facing their problems because I feel like their problem would require them to leave their environment, and to leave certain people and to fully change. This person stays in a place that's safe, but because it's easy, but it's not safe. or not on a spiritual level anyway, not if you're miserable, not if you have to be detached all the time in order to be there. And we didn't even look at the habits and behaviorisms of this person, because if they're doing this, well, we can only stay in a place where we run from ourselves for so long without feeling like, you feel bad. People drink to forget their problems. People smoke to not have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? So, what are they doing? Because the obstacles, are they really obstacles, or is it this person is an obstacle? Like they get in their own way, meaning they sabotage themselves. See, there's a lot of sabotaging energy that I feel. Someone that's an avoidant, and that's like, it doesn't mean that they don't have a connection to you. They can have a spiritual connection to you, but it becomes like a tug of war. That's what it feels like. Like you're battling, like to it begins to make you feel like it's difficult to love me, which it's like, no, that person has a hard time like emotionally connecting. I feel like I can be my true self around you. Like, so it's not like this person doesn't know that they can. I feel like they have moments. And that's why it's like that's the problem. There's a lot of paradoxical energy, which is I love you, but I don't. I love you, but I hate you. I I want to have the relationship and closeness, but I can't. I sabotaging behaviorism is a psychological reversal, which a psychological reversal is the person gets in their own way. They don't even know what they do. It's like they sabotage themselves. And that's the person that was programmed in an environment by a narcissist. So it may not even be your reading. You may be connected to someone that it's you need to understand why they act the way that they do. The narcissist, again, the person that grew up with by a narcissist becomes a narcissist, and as a way of survival. It's not intentional. It's a spiritual issue. Will you give me a second chance? You'd be like, hell no, not the way that you are. Because they're afraid of losing you. So it's again that's the problem when there is like a real love relationship, but there's a lot of wounds. You got a relationship that's on, that's off, that's on, that's off. It kind of looks like a tennis match, because it's not that there's not love there. It's not that they're not caring, but it's like two people that have a lot of like subconscious blocks, and you say, like, understand this. You say, I'm not doing anything. It's the other person. But the fact that you're connected and that they're triggering, you have subconscious and repressed, which is what I was talking about in the beginning, which is that repressed energy. There's habits and behaviorisms that, you know, are making you connected to that person even though you're not. Again, I have unwillingly sabotaged our connection, which is what said. Like this person, no, they realize it after the fact, the same way that you would realize if you fucked up at a job. It's like you realize after, and sometimes it's a really stupid mistake. But why does a person do that? Oh, they weren't as grounded. They were nervous. They overreacted. They didn't think. They didn't ground. They were fearful. And so that fear was inside of them. Put a person in a situation that has a spiritual block about succeeding and watch them make the stupidest mistakes, because there's a feeling of unworthiness there. It has nothing to do with you, it has to do with this person. When we look at the spiritual cards now, because again, obviously, it doesn't make sense in the physical, it's like you're just seeing this person do things that are going to trigger you, and because they're coming from their level of consciousness. You'll understand why once you see the things that you need to heal. again, we project our patterns onto each other, and this makes it really difficult to see what is real and what is fear based thinking. So, understand again those spiritual blocks is we see what we look for, so you may be reacting from how they're treating you. So if someone's abandoning you, if someone's making you feel not worthy, if someone's making you feel not good enough, you're going to react from that. And that could be, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to treat you like a piece of shit because you would treat me like a piece of shit, right? Again, but that doesn't mean you don't have feelings for the person. You don't like the way that they treated, so it's like, but you bind yourself to the person because, hey, they don't change, you want them to change, and it becomes like a tug of war. And so where spirit saying, it's also like how you're contributing to it, because it's not that there's not love there, but the thing is, till it gets healed, you learn how to like communicate, you'll continue to have this problem, is what spirit's saying. you know this person, whatever you're building, this person can see themselves, I don't know, feeling like there's a connection with them being able to help you to do what you do. There's liking and there's an admiration of doing what you do. So they're that, like they want to do that and understand that would, if for healing, because sometimes spirit again designs the perfect experience to help you do that, to help heal. And it doesn't mean that you need to do this. What it means is this is their perspective. If you give them another chance, then they would be able to help you, like again, and still contribute to your life. So maybe this person's not good at emotionally showing you, but they would show you financially. They would show you by helping you build. They would help you by what they're good, what their gifts are, right? Where, they might not be your strength. Being mirrors for each other makes self love so important. I wish I was there, but if I'm not, I want you to love yourself. So obviously, I feel like this is very twin flamey energy to me, where it's again the person sees it, they want a second chance. And remember, the runner always becomes the chaser and always comes back when the relationship is over, by the way. The other person really feels like it's like, fuck you, I'm not taking you back ever. And but that's where spirit says that's when the person needs to come back. Otherwise you would let them in too easy. So understand, you being very easygoing and very like chill person, the person will steamroll you. They're like, they're of a lower energy. They have to get up to a higher energy. And you being like, oh, whatever, it's going to not be good. It's like you would need to be like, we're doing this on Thursday at 5 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, and you better fucking be here. It's like, like, because it's like, and maybe not with that tone or to say it, but that needs to be kind of like the attitude, how you hold yourself. Otherwise, this person is just, they're low energy. And do what's comfortable. And what's comfortable is, again, it's like we see isn't really a good thing. You have to train a person how you want to be treated. I feel abandoned and I feel like others let me down. Now, obviously, if you're waiting for someone to give, then people let you down. But when we have an open heart and we're actually giving to the relationship, we might see that a person doesn't show up, might make a mistake. But guess what? If we're balanced and our life is good, it's not our world. We don't get stuck in it. We don't, you know, only if we don't show up for ourselves are we abandoned. And there was a little bit of that energy in there before. So remember, this person's on a low vibe. And I'm not saying that people haven't like not showed up for this person, but when we show up for ourselves, the universe provides. And that's how we meet new friends. That's how new doors open. That's how, but if we're stuck in feeling abandoned, then understand we've abandoned ourselves. I'm conflicted about whether I have what it takes to be your partner. And that's the issue. Like I said, low vibe. Like this person understands God says, yeah, I know that that's what they think, but love is the energy of me, and I am all knowing, and I can make anyone do anything. It's that supernatural, energy. That's why it said, I love you, but I hate you. They're in that energy right now. So they're holding on to a cognitive dissonance, which is, again, that psychological reversal, which is like, well, why the fuck are they doing what they're doing? And the spirit says, oh, don't try and make sense of it logically. That's a spiritual issue. And you're like, so why? Because it makes me mad. And spirit says, yeah, because there's an energetic connection. That's why the person said being mirrors for each other is so important. I wish I was there. But again, this person is holding them back because it's like, well, I don't know if I could live up to your expectations. I don't know. We see what we look for. If we look for problems, we're going to see problems. So they're again holding on to that, but it's all about themselves. It really doesn't have anything to do with you. You're just kind of making them have to make a choice because it's like, well, I'm not going to be with you if you're not like coming in on a certain vibration. I'm just not, and that's what it is. So if the person has a choice, but they don't want to do it, but hey, I can't let go. I can't let go because love is not going to let you go. You can't let it go. What it's going to do is it's going to make this person access past life wisdom, to help them understand things with a new perspective. Because God says, I'm going to put you in a timeout. It's like because you are fighting me, because God is love, your ego, and that's keeping you in this small mindset and keeping you holding on to like the negative energies of the past, pretty much, because that was what we see, what we look for. But it's not that what it's really happening. This person's acting like it's happening when it's not happening. That's why you're like, I don't understand. It's like what's happening here. The person's an asshole. That's what it's going to feel like, and spirit says, yeah, that's sabotaging behavior, and it's because person has like, specific patterns from the ancestral bloodline. So if they were talked to that they were unworthy, that they weren't good enough, there's something wrong with you. You're an asshole. Listen, asshole, listen, shit for brains. Give me, whatever. If they were talked to like that on a daily basis, if they were, like treated like abusively by a parent, like that's inherited. So if they were made to feel like they were unlovable, and that's what I'm seeing, like psychological reversals like this means that they were brought up by a parent that made them feel unlovable, that traumatize them, because that's how a pattern is created. Like a pattern is a subconscious pattern. It's like this, it keeps playing out as a karmic loop, which the karmic loop is a sign of the pattern, which is we create neurological um, pathways in the mind from certain behaviorisms over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and so then they become subconscious behaviorisms. So growing up in an environment where you're taught that there's something wrong with you, but that's inherited if that's how your parents were talked to, and that's how their parents would talk to, and that's how their parents would talk to. And there was traumatic experiences, and people were not as evolved. So spirit's saying it's like this is just after a certain amount of time. Remember, you're inheriting all that on a collective level. The karmic contracts and the karmic vows and the karmic, like all of it, covenants, but the negative covenants, like so where there was war, if there was war where you lived, or where I live in St. Augustine, they sold slaves downtown. It's like there is covenant that you're inheriting and you're paying for that. It's like wherever you choose to live, don't think that you're not. It's all comes out. But you see the problems also play out within personal, family, ancestral for sure. One of us is sad and angry, and it's creating an energetic shift and frequency within the other. And I feel like you get mad, and then this person gets mad because that connection is still there. That cord that I was talking about, which is the astral energy and the emotional energy. So even if the person's not talking to you, but you still can feel their energy, well, that's what it is. And you're like, and that's what Spirit's saying is you're still corded to this person, even if you don't like them. It's like you might say, I'm over it. Spirit says, well, usually by the time the person comes back, that's when, and it's because you've cut that cord. It's like, in being that you're severing the cord, it's again, the energy has changed and it's changed dramatically for this person that they definitely feel that energy shift, but they can still feel a slight cord, which, understand until you meet somebody else or you fulfill that space with a new passion, which really shouldn't be a person, it should be a passion, then that energy is completely cut, because then you're emotionally getting what you need. Because when you join things and you meet people emotionally, you're getting. But being that there isn't, and there's still a space that you're holding for that person, even if you don't want to, because been a habit. And it's like, well, I used to talk to that person like every day, and I miss that person. And even if they are acting the way that they're acting. So the Spirit's saying it's not that this person doesn't want, they want a second chance. It's not like they don't, it's just that they're not healed. You're not getting a healed version of this person. Doesn't mean that you can't be in a relationship with this person. It means that you're going to need to like set boundaries and really like you're the one that's navigating the ship. And I don't know if you want that. Sometimes you might want to be with someone that actually, takes a thing, because like takes hold of the relationship. And I say that only because they're conflicted about whether they know, whether or not they have, what it takes, and all this back and forth. And, they but wonder whether or not you're happy without them, So again, there's all this energy which they're still holding on to, but they're not moving forward because again of I sabotaged it and I know that need to fix it. But eventually, Spirit says that ego is going to drop. Has it dropped yet? No. No. It's like because they're like again stuck in that mindset of, you know, I see what I look for, and this is what's happened to me before, and I'm not worthy of it. There's something wrong with me. Maybe you're going to be with me, and then you're going to leave me, and it's again that's we see what we look for. If the person's not watering the fucking garden, the flowers die. It's that simple. But it's again all that procrastination and all that getting in their own way, is what actually kills the flowers. You know what I mean? Because it's like, should I water the flowers? Should I not? Should I? I mean, all that ruins the connection. So the connection is dying, but it's triggering this person because the energy has drastically changed. But twin flame energy, the runner becomes the chaser. And Spirit says this person wouldn't have an open heart otherwise. They're like the Grinch, but without that small heart. It's so you have to kind of scare them and be like, bye. It triggers their abandonment issues because they feel others have often left them down. So that's why they don't put any energy in. So that's why you have to be like, okay, bye. I'm not going to stay with you. What do you got to be kidding me? It's like that, like because either grow up, show up, and I use discernment whether or not the person. But the truth of the matter is, this person liked to be wild. They didn't want to be. And you want to know, like I said, I knew that there was going to be addictions there because it's like, what are you doing to stay in that energy, to fight it? What are you doing to hold yourself back? Because spirit and the higher self is telling this person what to do, but their ego is in the way. because again, I sabotaged myself, I ruined myself, I did this, I did that. So what you're doing is you're doing this. That could be too much drinking, too much smoking. It's escapism is what spirit's saying. But again, this is a divine union, so it doesn't matter. And that's the thing. It's really just triggering this person's love blocks to dismantle them, to bring to light, hey, this is blocking your heart. And eventually this person's going to say, I'm the asshole that's holding myself back. You know what I mean? It's like this connection is not really going to go like, is not going to like change unless I change, but understand this person is doing everything in their power right now to fight it tooth and nail, because it's like, again, that ego. They have to admit, they have to be subservient, then they need to change the way that they deal with life. Because are you going to tolerate the fact that every time that there's a problem that they're going to run away, that they're going to do drugs or drink too much and check out? Are you going to put up with all that? No, it's going to cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. So that's why I'm saying it's like a lot doesn't really have anything to do with you. It has to do with this person. I feel like. Now, don't get me wrong. If you grew up in a narcissistic environment, well, hey. But no, it shows shadow work and coping mechanisms and humiliation wound and agency wound. Okay, so I feel like right now you're like, you need to do shadow work because there's a sense of not really knowing who you are 100%. Like, that might mean because, hey, certain friends that used to be in your life, now you're not really resonating with. Maybe you loved your job at one point, now you're really not. Like, again, that there's not really anything that makes you feel strong within yourself. And so what happens is you become like a people pleaser, and it manifests as people pleasing and passivity, and just like fear of like conflicting. Like, I don't really like to get into arguments or fights, and a lot of like self-doubt, right? So it's, again, not being strong within yourself is what spirit's saying. That's number one. Coping mechanisms will show up as relying on distracting substances. Maybe you have that too. Maybe you smoke a little too much weed, or you, again, go shopping or whatever it is, to like deal with facing your emotions. And often stems from a lack of emotional tools. So, like, not getting that emotional support. So unresolved trauma leading to temporary relief, but not long term relief, and it creates like harm. So if you're someone that like overshops to deal, it shows up within your bank account, and you worry about your future, right? Where spirit says it's not that you don't make enough; it's like how you deal with life. It's how you know so spirit says a lot of times too, if you at one time were like humiliated, and that's really shows up as a shame, like maybe again being raised by a parent that was really like self-critical, or being dating someone that was really self-critical, and just fear of like not being good enough, not feeling like enough, and then overcompensating and trying to be perfect, where spirit says you are perfect the way that you are. um and understand it's all rooted from past experiences of either failure or feeling rejected. So there is that. So what you had was at one time that you were an anxious person because you didn't get that support, is what I'm feeling. And we didn't look at your inner child wounds yet. We just looked at the wounds. But again, what we saw was like just not being strong within yourself, like maybe finding yourself and feeling like, well, I didn't like certain things, but then all of a sudden friends changed, and then what you like, maybe the company you work for changed, or just something like changed where you just feel like, well, now I'm not comfortable anymore. Where, understand, if you grew up in an environment with a narcissist, with a parent that was very judgmental, maybe again they weren't a full-blown narcissist, they just had certain tendencies, nevertheless it made you feel not good enough, like inferior, like that there was something wrong, you're definitely going to see that play out over and over and over and over and over again. Now, what most people do is they do try and like overachieve to like kind of prove to themselves and proves to others, where spirit's saying it's like you can be an overachiever and be treated like shit, and it's because people see the need for validation. And if you never got it, you'll always connect to people that don't want to give you your due. They have a problem clapping for you. They have a problem like where you'll continue to see certain karmic situations on play within your life. Again, we see shame, and that's again like you felt bad about something, whether that was school. It could be something that is insignificant now, but was very significant as a child. And so, but the shame is always like not good enough, like that there's something wrong, which, by the way, isn't that sign of not being strong within yourself, to the point that you had a very strong connection to source. So again, usually if we have shame, and it's not to the point that where we have a good connection to source, we're checked out. Well, I understand. Hey, design guru. Um, well, it's that we're traumatized, we detach, we disassociated to the point. So the shame was bad, that and to see it as a thing of where maybe you're just more comfortable in being alone. It's like I got really comfortable at being alone. And so now, like, you feel like there's something wrong with you, because it's not that there's something wrong, it's that you become hypersensitive when you feel that there's something wrong with you because you're being shamed. And understand, people make mistakes. Okay, a child makes a lot of mistakes. That's a normal process of learning. But if they're continually shamed for it, they feel as if there's something wrong with them. That's again, over time, person deals with it, they detach, they disassociate, they're in their head, they're only thinking about what's going to happen. Again, we saw that connection to source, but there's no real strong relationships. Or if there are, maybe there's one or two, but we feel like we have a hard time connecting to people. And spirit saying that's a sign of a blocked heart chakra. And that's from not feeling safe. And what you see is you attracted someone with a closed heart chakra. Again, they're like the Grinch, I said, like before they got the healing. So and spirit saying then what happens is it's like as a child, when you're brought up by a parent that makes you feel bad, then it is confusing, because it's like you're supposed to love me and support me. Do you not love me? Do you feel like it? Then the child believes like, well, maybe there's something wrong with me, and even though there's nothing wrong with them, it's that they don't feel safe. It robs the innocence. Children are supposed to again be like childlike. It's like it makes them feel not safe, where it's again they don't learn how to really like love themselves, is what happens, because that's what shame does. And it's mainly just because the parent is angry, so then it makes a child then feel like they can't be vulnerable. So vulnerability is what intimacy is built on, and intimacy is what people that run away from their problems have a problem with, which then means that you wind up in a relationship with a person that emotionally can't give to you. And so spirit's saying it's not that this person doesn't have feelings for you. They do. But the way that they learned how to survive due to the trauma, and so is kind of like interacts with you, which is I grew up in an environment with that I didn't get the love and the nurturing that I needed. So I was brought up by a parent that was an avoidant. Well, that's what you're getting. You're getting an avoidant person with this person where they sabotage themselves. Yes, they realize that they love you, but in order for them to really be able to come back into your life, they would have to really work hard to go within. Spirit says part of you not being strong within yourself, that would have been a problem. Because they would have, we see it here and here, the way that you would deal with the stress would not be good, you know. So that's what needs to be healed. This person, like I said, I do feel like they're going to come back. I just don't feel like they're coming back tomorrow because they need that healing and things. You may not want to be with the person. You may want to be with the person. Understand, God doesn't care. God says, that person already evolved. If they're coming back, well, they surrendered their ego, and that's all that I cared to bring, because again, they were going to learn through pain, if that's the case, that you're not in their life. So either way, they learned the lesson. For you, it's again being that you're in separation from them, was first to understand they were a mirror of, like, kind of like what you would have gotten again. They just, you lived an experience in childhood that affected you. This person would have made you feel the same exact way. So Spirit saying, obviously, you not giving in and staying away from this person, making this person do work. It's not just, well, I'm making them. It's a choice, but you need to then transmute that negative energy. You need to embody a new consciousness in order to change the entire dynamic of that situation. And Spirit saying, because first of all, divine timing. The person's coming back in divine timing, and Spirit has a plan that unfolds at a specific time. That's divine timing. But it's, again, don't worry, be patient, is what Spirit is saying. It's also Spirit saying, be vulnerable, which is being open to the healing. Embrace your authenticity. Maybe that was something hard that you weren't allowed to do because, hey, there's limitless potential. Whatever you're building, whatever you're creating, again, goes back to the beginning of the reading, you're going to be very successful in. Yeah, so it's going to open up a whole new doors. It's going to heal you a lot. And so, it's happening in divine time. That needs to be the focal point. This person's coming back regardless, but they're going to come back in divine time also. And that doesn't mean it's the same time as, whatever it is that you're creating. If they don't come back at that particular time when things launch or when things become successful and it's a little bit further down the line, it's because you're in a stronger and better place where, again, and this person would be too, but you would still need to be, step into the best version of yourself, because this is very twin flame energy, and that's what twin flames do. When the person is coming back, it's because they've made a choice. And believe me, they've talked themselves already out of it many times. So they really want it. So you're not getting the same version that you got prior. That's the whole thing, is that what Spirit is saying. And in the meantime, light the darkness, nurture the light within you to guide during the dark times. And that's by creating yourself more, again, doing more within your business, doing more that makes you happy, that brings you joy. And I feel like whatever it is that you're building, because it's focusing on, it helps you focus on, like, the brighter horizons, but also seeing your genius, seeing, hey, that you actually have your own identity, you're creating your own thing, you're becoming strong within yourself, all these things, which, by the way, you were wounded in. I don't feel strong within myself. I don't feel like, it's like I'm people pleaser. I'm nice to give my energy away. It's like I gave too much. Spirit says, yeah, because you didn't create yourself. You're creating yourself. You're becoming a leader. Everything is happening. You're changing. Yes, it takes time. But during that time, as you're creating yourself, well, it's again, like before you know it, you're in that horizon, and you're meeting people along the way. It's like, understand some of the people that, are not going to be able to come with you, and that's okay. On this new journey, it's like you have to let them drop out of your life and let what's supposed to come into your life, is what spirit is saying. It's like you're going to meet that support, and it's okay, because listen, if you weren't strong within yourself, well, then you attracted people that, obviously saw that and might have taken advantage, or they weren't really contributing much, or they were expecting. So again, it wasn't balanced energy. They weren't balanced. So they weren't really contributing to your life. As you evolve, you again are not going to be able to keep certain people into your life. They're not going to want to stay in your life, because if they're vibing on a low vibration, which it means, well, they're talking about like hooking up all the time and going out and partying all the time and doing what, and you're not resonating, because you're building something, you're creating something, you're growing something. Well, it gets tiresome for the person. They don't give a shit about what you're creating, what you're building. They want a buddy that's going to go out and party and, like what they like. So Spirit says it's about time, just take a leap of faith in a new direction. Risks are going to be rewarding. So that means join something, do something different, and because you have to be true to yourself. It's not about you again caving to the environment. We aren't people pleasing here. It's you got to be strong enough to be by yourself. Again, because there's always a space between what you sow to what you reap. But Spirit says, in the meantime, live authentically and boldly, unafraid to be yourself. Live out loud. It's again, you're on the right path. It's like, it might seem like it's not, because it's like, well, why are these people not in my life? Why are these people not my friends? Why is this changing? Why is that changing? Why don't I feel connected? Spirit says, because you're changing. It's like, and healing doesn't feel good, because it's changing everything. And so you want to create some sort of stability. And sometimes people can, make us feel stable. And Spirit says that's codependent. And that person wasn't even healthy. That person wasn't, that didn't have your best interest at hand. So as you heal, certain people are going to also, that everyone has a choice whether they want to step it up, you know and it's not like you'd say, okay, now I'm at a higher vibration, everybody out. That's not the way that it works. It's that people usually, it's an intuitive thing. It's felt, and we have a choice. So if a person chooses not to be in your life because you're triggering them, that's, you got to let them. The spirit says you got to let them go, because new people are coming in, and you couldn't expect to keep the same people in your life the whole time. You can't. If you again were in an environment that made you feel bad, that made you feel certain way, you're going to get a lot of people that come in for a season, and not even for a whole time. Spirit says about rising above, and that's, seeing beyond your immediate fears, which is, oh my God, I'm going to be alone. Like, no one likes me. There's something wrong with me. Spirit says that you're healing. Yes, again, and part of that is detoxing, because otherwise you can't let go of who you were to become who you're supposed to be. It doesn't work that way. You're not ready to be with this person yet, because not until you step into who you're supposed to really be, and that's that purposeful being. You are building, you are transforming, which again, that's why Spirit says certain people gotta go. Got to be like, again, you don't fit into my energy. Bye bye. It's like, you're not going to make me feel bad about myself. I'm not required to take care of you. Remember, if you are a people pleaser and you begin to change by when you're creating yourself, these old patterns that you're shedding, well, hey, people don't like when you change. Hey, it was more beneficial when you were stupid. It was more beneficial when you wanted to be a people pleaser, obviously. So this is about loving yourself and know that Spirit saying use what you're passionate about and what you love to focus on, to not focus on that. Because again, when you change, people don't like it. This isn't about that. If they don't like what's best for you, then they don't really need to be in your life. Because you only want to be around people that are gonna like show that. And that's why this spirit, this person you like holding to a standard is triggering to them because it's like it brings out their demons. Am I good enough? I don't know. You're gonna expect what are you expecting from me? What is that gonna look like? You know what I mean? And it's like it's love. You don't know. It's an unfoldment process. It's an investment that you are going into right away. You don't know. And so if you're not strong within yourself, don't bother. The spirit says that's the whole point of why you're dealing with this person. But you're not where in your energy either 100% spirit says. But is it happening? Yeah. You can go there nice and easy, which you're doing, or you can go there kicking and screaming like that person is. But either way, it's going to happen because the universe always comes back and collects its due. And its main job is I'm reverting your energy back to its original energy of unconditional love. So I'm bringing you what you need until are the energy of love. Then you can attract that. And until the meantime, like I said, that building and that brighter horizons that you need to focus on, Spirit says, is based on the success that you're going to achieve, which said that was right there in the forefront. I don't know if you noticed that. And so Spirit says, grow and thrive in the universe, discover the purity of your heart and the highest wisdom that guides you towards victory. Direct your thoughts towards clarity and nurture wisdom, love, and goodness that are within you. Know that, and that you are free now and you can succeed in life. And you can succeed in life when you're actually transmuting those negative energies, which Spirit says that's what's happening. You're stepping into it and you're changing. So certain people are not going to like it. Yeah, and well, this person doesn't like it because hey, it's requiring them to grow up, but they love you, so they're gonna do it. But understand it's a process. Spirit's saying it's not like a 1, 2, 3. It's because people have free will, they resist change because of whatever. But Spirit always says, I always win. I'm God. I always win. It's like, but I'll let them play the game for a while. They'll tucker themselves out. And in the meantime, you'll do what you need to do for yourself. And in divine time, it all unfolds. All right. I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. And Happy New Year to you all. And thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to give it a like. Talk to you soon. Wow, with my hair stuck to my lip that whole time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.